In this video, I'm going to show you how to start collecting email addresses on your Squarespace website using a newsletter block. You can start collecting email addresses from your visitors without a Squarespace email campaign subscription. When you're ready to send the emails, you are going to have to sign up for a separate campaign subscription, but there's also a free trial, so you can do that before you sign up. I have a separate video that shows you how to send those emails out, but today we're going to start collecting emails using the newsletter block. If we haven't met, my name is Shannah and I am a Squarespace web designer in New York City. Now let's dive in. Now you can add a newsletter block anywhere on your Squarespace website. Right here, we're looking at one of Squarespace's standard templates called Cedar Group, and they have a newsletter block in the footer of this template, which is a very typical place to put it because then it'll appear anywhere on your website. You can also just create a section with a newsletter block. You can create a page that has a newsletter block on it, so you can link people directly to that page if you want them to sign up for your newsletter. And what I'm going to show you is we're just going to add a section to this template with a newsletter block because it works the same no matter where you put it. So we're going to edit this page and we're going to add a section, and I'm going to pick a blank section here, and I'm going to add a block, and I'm going to add a newsletter block. So here it has some default text and some default settings, and I'm going to show you how to update this. So I'm going to click the edit button here. And here in the content tab, the first thing we want to do is update the form name. So this must be the third form on this website. So we're just going to change that to newsletter sign up. And then the title here is what's going to appear at the top of your sign up. So I'm going to change this to join the list. And then the description should explain how often you send emails, what people are going to get when you send them. So you might want to add a little bit more to this description, but you can say anything you like here. And then this disclaimer appears at the bottom. You can keep this here. You could change it to say something like, you can unsubscribe at any time. Or I actually like to take it out. I just don't think you need a disclaimer there. Totally up to you. And then down here, you can change the text that appears on this button, and you have the option to turn on the name field. Now, a lot of people like to collect the first name when people sign up for their newsletter so they can customize the emails that go out and say, hey, Shannah, instead of just, hey, stranger. But in Squarespace, you have to include both the first name and the last name. Now, they've recently made a change, so you could say the first name is required and the last name is not required, but you can't just turn off the last name, so it can be a little bit confusing. A lot of people just don't like to show the name because it's just more things that people have to enter to sign up, and maybe they just won't sign up. So a lot of people just include the email address, and then you just can't customize the emails that you send out. So I'm going to turn the name field off for now. And then in this post submit section here, you can display a message after people sign up for your list. So you can change this to be a little more personal. Thanks for subscribing. You could also potentially redirect someone to another page after they sign up. Maybe they are signing up for a freebie and then you just redirect them to the page where they can download that freebie. That's one way you could use this redirect. But for now, we're just going to go with message and display this post submit message. So I'm going to back out here, and then let's hop over to the design tab. You can select if you would like to use a stack layout or a float layout. If I pick stack, that's going to put everything vertically up and down, and float is going to be more horizontal. I can change my alignment to the left or the right. I like to have it in the center, but depends on what your design is. You can turn on a background behind the newsletter sign up, and these colors are all going to be based on the color theme of the section, but you can make some adjustments here. I could change that background color if I wanted to. I can turn on a stroke around the edge of the newsletter block, and I can change that stroke color to another color. I can change its thickness. I can make the corners curved. If I change that to 40, you see that adds a little curve on the corners there. And I can adjust that padding to be large, medium, or small. So you can play with your design a little bit. I wouldn't touch blend mode or blur down there. And then I'm going to hop over to storage. And this is where you're telling Squarespace where you want those emails to go when people sign up. So I'm going to click on this first option here. And you can set up a mailing list, but you don't have to. When people sign up, they're going to go into a list of subscribers automatically. The reason why you might want a separate mailing list is if you have different newsletter blocks for different purposes on your website. If people are just signing up for your newsletter in one place, and then maybe you are having them sign up for a lead magnet in another place, you might want separate mailing lists for that. Right now, we don't have any mailing lists on this website, so I'll show you how you would set that up, and then you'd have to come back and add that mailing list here if you'd like to use that option. You have the option to send a confirmation email to people when they subscribe. They would get an email in their inbox that said, hey, you signed up. You need to confirm that you really want to subscribe. And they're not going to be added to your list until they confirm. I don't like to add that extra step. If someone gives me their email address, I know they want to sign up, but there may be situations where you really want people to confirm that they want to join your list, and then you could turn this on. I would recommend leaving on reCAPTCHA. This is going to help eliminate some of the spam on your website. And then there are some other options here. You can connect your newsletter block to a Google Sheet, and then all the email addresses people submit will be also saved into a Google Sheet. If you just click connect, it will step you through the steps to connect to your Google account and then enter the name of a spreadsheet. You also have the option to connect this newsletter block to Zapier. If you know what Zapier is, you can do that. And you can also connect your newsletter sign up block to MailChimp. If you want to use MailChimp to send out your emails, you can do that here. And you do have to have a core plan to use the Zapier or MailChimp connections, but you can connect to a Google Drive no matter what subscription you have. So those are your other storage options. And now we've got our newsletter block all set up. I'm going to click save and exit out, and I'm going to sign up for this email list to show you what happens. And I click sign up. And that is the confirmation message that we said to display after we signed up. Now, let me show you where those email addresses go. I'm going to exit out here. I'm going to go over to contacts. On the contacts page, all of the contacts that you've collected on your website are going to display here. So this includes not only subscribers, but also customers that you've sold products to, or anyone who has filled out a form on your website. They're all going to be displayed here on this page. And you'll see there I am, I signed up, and this checkbox means that I accept marketing. Anyone who fills out a newsletter form on your website is going to have this checked, and you need to have this checked in order to be able to send this person emails from Squarespace email campaigns. If people fill out a form on your website, you can potentially add a checkbox where they can decide if they want to join your list, but otherwise this checkbox will not be displayed. Now let's go down to the next level, which is lists and segments. This is going to show your contacts in different segments and lists. Here are my subscribers, and if I click in here, there you can see me as a subscriber, and I accept marketing. We also have the segment of new subscribers. This is anyone who signed up in the last 3 months. Potential customers. Squarespace has segmented people who have subscribed but haven't bought anything from you yet. They're trying to get you to sell them something. If you sell things on your website and people purchase them, they will be here under customers. And form submitters will be where you'll find anyone who has filled out a form on your website. Now, I mentioned you don't need to set up a mailing list because anyone who fills out a newsletter form on your website is going to go into this subscribers bucket, and you can send out emails to all subscribers. But if you would like to create different mailing lists, as we discussed, you would click up here, create mailing list, and let's call this newsletter subscribers, and click save. And now we've got a mailing list. It doesn't have anyone in it yet. But if I go back over to my website, and I edit my newsletter block and go here on my storage tab, now I can select newsletter subscribers, and anyone who signs up from this point forward will go on this mailing list. But I signed up before I put this new mailing list here, so I am not on this mailing list. So let's exit out here. Now back here on this contacts page, I also want to show you 2 other ways you can add emails to your list in Squarespace. If I click up here on add subscribers, I can upload a list of subscribers, or I can manually add subscribers. So let me show you this first one, upload a list, and I click next. I can upload a spreadsheet that just has 3 columns, the email address, and optionally the first name and the last name. I can select which mailing list I want to add these people to. Let's pick newsletter subscribers, and then make sure you turn on accepts marketing. So this little checkbox will be checked and you can send these people emails. So you can upload a list. And then the other option here is just to add people individually. Maybe you want to add your mom to your email list. So you can put her email address here, add her first and last name. Optionally, you can say which mailing list you want them to be added to, and then again, make sure you turn on accept marketing. And those are all the ways that you can collect email addresses on your Squarespace website. If you want to know how to send emails out to those people, you'll find a link to another video below that talks about that. And if you want to learn how to send a lead magnet out to people who subscribe to your newsletter list, you will also find a link below to that video. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If so, please give it a like and subscribe below.